Retro throwback to the old intro. Welcome back, guys. Today we're going to be doing a video describing how the Mafia fleet works, as well as showcasing it performing. This fleet video was requested by a bunch of you during the last Build a Fleet video with the Italian sniper. So today we're going to show you everything you need to know about the Mafia fleet and all its different variants. Why is it called the Mafia fleet? Well, that's because in it we're using the Italians like Aquila here, as well as the Americans like New Jersey here. Those two countries are the ones where the Mafia is the most active. Not to mention that New Jersey is the state where the most Italian Americans reside. So we're running Italians and New Jersey Americans. So boom, Mafia fleet. Here we're also running Juno here. This is PvP, and Juno is a tier 0 ship with the Manju item, so we need to run her. It also helps she is American. New Jersey needs another American to proc her damage reduction skill, so Juno fits two perfect roles here. She's one of the best PvP ships, and she procs New Jersey's skill. So Juno's going to be our mob fall guy for today. The last three ships that you can use in this fleet have a lot of variation. There are a lot of options you can choose. You can even go into non-pure, such as FDG or Yukikaze. But today we're going to be sticking pure with the Italians and Americans only, and I will show you the three that I use to get Admiral of the Navy, hopefully, in this video. For the backline, my favorite option is Vittorio Veneto. She serves two big roles. One, that she's able to buff Aquila. Aquila is going to be doing all of the revealing, and that's super important to get a lot of early damage with her, so buffing her is nice. Vittorio Veneto on her own is a super powerful ship. She's got an early strike salvo, which is very important, and what we are going to be playing a lot of our choices around is that skill. Firing early is always really good. On top of that, she's just a great base ship with a good barrage and good damage and good survivability. So back to the cooldown reduction, we actually need to have 3 Italians to max out that cooldown reduction. Right now, Vittorio Veneto counts as herself for 1, Aquila counts as 2, and we need 1 more for the Vanguard. The most popular option is Duca. Duca definitely is used by a bunch of people. In my last Italian sniper video, you guys have seen how powerful she is as a torpedo meme fleet. She does immense amounts of damage with her torpedoes, and actually for a light cruiser, she's surprisingly tanky. You can definitely use her, and I would argue she's probably the best Italian to use here. You will see her very often, and if you're playing high-rank PvP, you've probably seen her already. However, despite what many people think, she's not the only option. Some of you may have been catching on that I've been leveling my Mostrale. She is certainly an alternative here. I bet you didn't guess that. She kind of serves like an Italian version of Eldritch. She procs on hit, she doesn't do a lot of DPS, and she's a little squishy, but she has an amazing skill that allows your Vanguard to survive a long time. Like I said, she's Italian, so she does help proc Vittorio Veneto's skill, and she buffs your Italian ships as well. I really like her. A lot of people might argue that she's not the best to use, but we're going to be using her today as a proof of concept to show that she can work, and I really like her. I've been using her for quite a few seasons now. Now, something that you want to note for future-proofing this video is noting anchorage. You can tell here she's not Dev 30 yet, and I don't think many people, if anyone at the time of this recording, has anchorage Dev 30 yet. However, that will change very soon. I'm almost done with mine. So because she's not done, we're not going to be using her in this video. Bye-bye. And likely we won't run into her during our trials for Admiral of the Navy. Maybe we will, but she probably won't be leveled. The point is, when she does come here with Dev 30, she's going to change the metagame. She's going to hurt preloaded like Aquila and Vittorio Veneto. Of course, you're going to want to use her, and you could put her in and whatever for that 3rd slot, and at that point, you don't need double smoke screens early on, so you can switch out Mostrale for Duca, and that's probably going to be one of the best fleets early on. However, also importantly is we got to talk about how she debuffs Veneto, not just Aquila. In that case, when everybody is using her in a few months from now, you are going to want your Veneto to fire later. Right now, Veneto is firing so early that she's going to hit right into that smoke screen. You want her to be a little bit later and firing at about the same time as New Jersey. New Jersey conveniently has her barrage at a time period that Anchorage can't really fire her torpedoes. You can time your Veneto to fire at about that same time period, which is a perfect window to avoid the smoke screens from Anchorage. To do that, you need to remove your Italian Vanguard ship. Then you'll only have 2 Italians, Veneto and Aquila, and she'll be a little bit slower. When that time period comes, you can swap out any of your Italian Vanguards for your Anchorage, and that would be probably the best option if you're fighting other anchorages. But today we're going to be running the Italian variant that is going around today, the Maestrale version for proof of concept. So you're probably wondering what the last and 6th ship of this fleet is going to be. If you're in the Admiral of the Navy Ninja class, you guys probably already know what this is because most of you love this ship. It's Seattle. Seattle is an amazing all-around tank. She's got good AA, she's got good armor for avoiding torpedoes, and she's got a very chunky HP pool, not to mention she's USS, meaning she has the damage reduction from New Jersey, and if you put her in the back where she is right now, currently placed, she is going to get another damage reduction for herself. This means that she is going to be a great option here, and now that we're not having double smoke screens, Maestrale's smoke screen can come out really early and guard her. This Vanguard is a pain to get killed. Also note, you do need to have her Fate Simulated +5, not only for the luck, but the fact that we want this addition to the skill, which has if your airspace control of the map is air parity or higher, that part ends up coming in only when you get her to Fate Simulated +5, and PvP counts as air parity. So you got to spend the extra prints to finish her out. That being said, this is the Mafia fleet we're going to be using to show proof of concept to try and get Admiral of the Navy today. And let's get into the equipments, because those are almost more important. Before I continue, I have to tell you about today's sponsor, Lootcakes. They sponsored this video before, and I'm so glad that they came back and wanted to sponsor another video of mine. If you want more details about how Lootcakes works, you can go over to the ad read in that video. Since that video, Azur Lane has become the 13th most used game on Lootcakes, even above this infamous game. And that's all because of you guys. It was down in the low 40s before. We also now have the largest Azur Lane alliance on Lootcakes. Nice work. However, if you haven't seen that other ad read, really quickly, what is Lootcakes? It is a way for US residents to gain free gift cards like Amazon and Google. You link your Gmail account, and they take your financial transaction data in that account and sell it to companies on your behalf, and then give you gift cards. You earn Lootcakes credits anytime you make a purchase in a free-to-play game on Steam, Google Play Store, or Apple Store. So if you want to earn a few extra bucks by selling your data, use the link in the description to sign up for Lootcakes. Also, remember to join my alliance, ALM Seal Squad. Even free-to-play players can earn free gift cards by joining my alliance. Since that last video, we've earned a ton of free Lootcakes. Also, don't forget, the free giveaway is still live. If you sign up for Lootcakes before the end of the month and link a Gmail account, you have a chance of winning a $50 gift card. So sign up using the link in the description and we can whale together. Now back to the video. All right, here we are back with the equipment, and we're going to start off with New Jersey. A very solid 6,000 power from just New Jersey alone. You're going to be running the 457 on her. This is going to be the best gun in PvP. This will snipe so many people with the heavy armor in the back line, and she has so much damage with her barrage and just the base damage. It's not a problem running this. Of course, there are alternatives if you have, like, you know, a budget and you don't have it at +13 yet, but work towards getting that 457. It is now in the prototype shop now, so you have a route and avenue to get to it. Eventually you can get it. In terms of auxiliary guns, we're going to be running this twin 130 Tashkent gun. Why are we running this gun over options? Well, it's because of the effective range. It's a little bit longer than all of the other destroyer guns. Of course, US battleships can only equip destroyer guns in their auxiliary slot instead of the better cruiser guns, so we are a little bit hampered there, but the reason we're running this one is because it has the longer range that's more comparable to what a cruiser gun would have, so it can hit the Vanguard a little bit easier. It also doesn't sacrifice much in DPS. The ammo type is normal, but it's a special type of normal ammo, which means it's going to be decent against light and medium armor. This ship will never fire against heavy armor, so having a downside about that isn't a big issue because she's in the back line and it will never reach until people use a gear, but your main gun will just shred that ship to pieces, so it's not a problem. In terms, we're going to be using the Bofors Stag for the AA gun because we like hit stat. Doesn't matter if she has 450 plus anti-air. We really like hit stat, and she needs to hit her barrages. In terms of auxiliaries, we're going to be running the high standard fire control radar. This is pretty much Battleship's dream auxiliary. It's going to reduce that cooldown for the main salvo, which is very important because your opponent's probably running a New Jersey too, and who can fire first will very likely make the difference in the battle because New Jersey is just so powerful. So you do need to run one of these definitely to make her fire earlier. In terms of the second slot, we could run a whole bunch of things, but she's already one of the tankiest ships with her heavy armor, her over 10,000 HP that you see there, her really good AA. She really doesn't need too much help surviving. Yes, we could put an evasion quip on her, but we're really just going to be focusing on min-maxing that damage. Here we're increasing the firepower and the hit as well as the crit damage. So, hit means more crit chance, more damage on crit, and then firepower means we're scaling off of more damage. This is just going to be a load of damage. This New Jersey hits like a truck. Otherwise, she's not dying anytime soon, even without having any defensive auxiliaries. She's really just going to be wrecking through the opponent really quickly. Next up, we have Acula, and this is going to be the same loadout as that Italian sniper fleet for the most part. If you want more kind of reasons why we chose these options, you can go over that video, check it out. It's going to be the same reasoning. We're going for all that crash damage. I really like these new rocket fighters that helps with the accuracy against moving vanguards, especially when they move as fast as that Le Malin video. The only improvement we could make is getting that Rainbow UR dive bomber. Nobody has that equipment yet. It will be a long time before anyone really gets one, but when we do, we're going to add it and get it to plus 13 and add it to Acula. But for the most part, we have the best dive bomber that anyone actually has right now. And yeah, Acula is really good. Finishing off, we have Vittorio Veneto. So for the main gun, we're actually going to be using the Rainbow UR gun here, which is HE ammo instead of AP. Now you may be wondering why we use this gun, but Vittorio Veneto is firing so quickly in this fleet. Like we're talking right almost at the beginning of the battle. And so it's probably going to be firing into that front line. Acula might not even reveal the backline carriers in time. So likely this is firing into the front line. And so we are going to basically just shred all of those light and medium armors in the front line. Additionally, the main downside of using this gun over other options is it is slow. It's a very slow gun, but that is okay because we have that damage reduction skill with Vittorio Veneto, meaning she's going to be firing really early. So we get our cooldown reduction that mitigates most of the downsides of having it be a slow reloading gun, and we know that it's probably going to fire against these moving targets in the front line that are light and medium armor for extra damage with the HE. We can reignite those burns with our Vanguard. This is going to hurt really bad. On top of that, it fires 3x3, which means it's going to cover a lot of area. So even if the troops are moving, and if we need some help with AP, she does have an AP barrage that comes out after Acula will reveal the backline, meaning the AP barrage stands a very good chance of firing into the backline with the heavy armor and getting that armor break. So we're going to run the HE here. For the auxiliary gun, we're going to be running the standard light cruiser gun I like for PvP. It has a long range, so we can actually hit the opponents. It's also AP, so it does go piercing through the multiple opponents. Honestly, it doesn't make too much of a difference, but this is the one I like just a little bit more. Of course, for the AA gun, we're going with the Boffer stack again because hit stat is the best stat for the battleship. For the auxiliaries, we're going to be going with the high standard fire control radar again. And you may be asking, meta, don't we already have enough cooldown reduction? The answer is no. Firing fast and early is important. So we are going to be running that. I mean, honestly, to be real with you, the extra 15% doesn't make too much of a difference. You can swap this out right now. If in the future we are playing the Anchorage meta where you pull out the Italian Vanguard and you're being a little bit slower, you are going to need this to fit yourself into that window where Anchorage can't fire. But for now, technically this is optional. However, I still like to use it because it focuses on hit and firepower. Those are the stats that these battleships really, really like if you're focusing on damage. And so we're going to keep using it for basically the base stats. And you can think of the skill here being a perk instead of the base reason we're using it, like on New Jersey. For the other auxiliary, there are a lot of options here. We can go with the the white shell again here. We can go with evasion equips. I like using the beaver squad. That way we can run good stuff on our vanguard, but still have them be quick. Plus the evasion and the HP does make Vittoria Veneto a little harder to kill, which is important. Vittoria Veneto is not squishy by any means, but when you're comparing her to New Jersey, she certainly is nowhere near that level of survivability. This helps her get closer there. Of course, Veneto's also on the outside, and that means she's more susceptible to a Warspite snipe, so keep that in mind. That's what I like to run on Veneto. So let's move on to the Vanguard. So for my Juno build, we're going to be staying pretty standard here with what I like to run. Pretty basic. We're going to be starting with our best in slot like cruiser gun. This is going to help us with some extra DPS, and it's going to help us reignite those fires that are coming from Veneto and New Jersey, which damage over time is going to add up. For the torpedoes, we're going to be running the quad gold. This has a lower cooldown time than the Quins do. Obviously, the damage is actually pretty high on each of the torpedoes, and if any of the Quinn torpedoes are going to miss, you might as well run the quad. Of course, we're running the quad on Juno because we hope that she dies first, and so we're hoping that she can get that second launch of the torpedoes off quickly. By having the quicker reload torpedoes on the ship we expect to die first, we have more chance of her firing 2 sets of those torpedoes. Once again, the DPS doesn't really make too much of a difference if you're assuming one of the Quins is going to miss. For the AA gun, we're going to be using the sextuple Bofors, which is the best of any of the AA guns in terms of shooting down planes. Does a lot of damage. The reload is not too bad. It's a little bit slower than a lot of other guns, but it's not a bad reload. Juno, surprisingly, is actually an AA bow with over 400 AA as well as anti-air mode. She actually shoots down planes very well, so we're going to put that on her, and hopefully she can shoot down those Aquila planes early on and reduce the damage to our backline. In terms of survivability for auxiliaries, we're running the Manju. This is pretty much a must on her. It is fantastic. It allows her to be in the front, take a bunch of the brute damage. It adds HP and anti-air, which is what Juno needs to survive more. Gives her 8 seconds of invincibility. I mean, I can just talk about that all day, how good that makes Juno. She is a tier 1 ship because of that item. Finally, we're going to go with the high performance hydraulic steering gear for the last one. You might be wondering why this one, but Juno is still a light cruiser, and we'd get some diminishing returns on that HP. She's got over 3,500 HP base, plus we're getting a bunch of HP off of the Manju item. So giving her some evasion is nice, puts her well over 100 evasion, and so that can just make her really tanky once again, and she's not even meant to be tanky. Next up, we have Mostrale, and for her main gun, we actually have an interesting choice, which is the twin 127mm. Some of you may be wondering why you use this, and it's because of the A stat. And yes, that does go against conventional wisdom, why we want that. Most people want firepower on their guns. But remember that this ship is meant to survive. She's not dealing any damage. I mean, she's got 109 base firepower, and she's not going to be doing much damage. So we're going to be giving her some extra AA so she can hopefully survive an Aquila pre-strike a little bit better. It's pretty negligible, but it's technically a little bit better, and the damage coming off her main gun does not really matter. The damage of the torpedoes can make a difference. It's not a lot, but it will do a little bit of damage. We're going to put the Quinn Rainbow on her. You could put a gold quad on her like the other one. I actually have both of these plus 13. This is mostly for PvE, actually, but I have both of them plus 13, so I'm going to use one of each. A plus 13 one of these is definitely better than a plus 10 quad. The reason we're running this on her and we're running the gold quad on Juno is because we expect Juno to die first. This means that that lower cooldown for the Juno will matter more, hopefully getting both ships to fire twice. Plus, it's nice just to have like a rainbow plus 13 on here to flex for you guys. Anyway, moving on to AA guns. You can see that she has basically no AA, and so we're going to be running this twin 76mm instead of anything like the sextuple or any of that. The hit stat doesn't really matter too because we don't care about her DPS. What this gun does here is look at that fire rate. It is very low. We are trying to reduce the average fire rate of our AA guns because it gets average for the fleet. The Bofors stack is a little slow, but it does a lot of damage. This one gives up a lot of damage, but it is a lot faster. It's technically not the fastest in the game, but the fastest one in the game gives up so much damage. We aren't really going to min-max here. You could min-max, but really what we're doing is we're reducing the cooldown and reducing the damage. But overall, when you average it out, it's going to be better because you have the bad AA ships that are reducing the cooldown by shooting faster, and you have the good ones that are going to be scaling their damage off of their high anti-air gun efficiencies with the high base damage of those guns. That's really the purpose here. Moving on to the equipments, we're going to be running the Pearl tiers, which is perfect HP equipment for a ship like this, you can see she has less than 2,000 HP. She really needs HP really bad to survive. Over 200 evasion, that's not something we're too concerned about. Pearl Tears obviously is going to give her that heal, so she's going to be our mini Juno for the day. She's probably dying second because Seattle is actually pretty tanky. This item is perfect for her. Obviously, you don't want this on Juno because that would just mean that Juno is going to overheal, and you want to hedge your bets on who dies first anyway. Finally, for the last equipment, you can pick literally any HP equipment. There are a lot of different options. You can pick a repair toolkit. You can pick the gold items. Technically, the best in slot would be the plus 13 gold items. However, that is a lot of auxiliary gold plates that I don't want to spend on a silly ship like this. Very low priority, but in the long run, it will give you a little bit extra HP. However, for plus 11, that's a very low investment here, and it's going to give us 580. On top of that, we're going to get this skill. 6% extra damage to the Japanese enemies. Not that much of a difference because this ship obviously isn't dealing that much damage, but it makes me feel better that we're actually getting a decent skill out of this item. Like I said, it won't make much of a difference because Malstrale is not dealing that much damage anyway, so 6% of barely anything is still barely anything. However, it does give a lot of the much needed HP. Last but not least, we have Seattle. And so for her, we're going to be running the prototype gun, the best light cruiser gun for the main slot. This is going to give us the best DPS, going to help us with reigniting those fires from the backline, of course. For the auxiliary gun, we're actually equipping the triple 152mm, the Chappie gun. You can actually equip an anti-air gun here, but we're going to be going with the gun here. And I like not equipping the anti-air gun because it reduces your anti-air efficiencies, which I don't like. And yes, you get 2 shots of your anti-air guns. However, in PvP, you're not really going to be shooting down planes that much because they have quadrupled health. So I don't particularly like it. I do know there are some fanboys that really do like running double AA guns, so I do have to mention it. It is functional. I just like running the double shot so she can shoot more. Of course, we're running another HE ammo here for reigniting fires. And the reason that we're running this in the auxiliary slot and not in the main gun slot is because it does a little bit less DPS in terms of like the modifiers and everything, but it has the extra firepower, 45 versus 30. And that's, you know, extra damage for us. So we like that. And you can see the efficiencies of slot 1 versus slot 2 are pretty big. And so we're going to have our higher DPS gun in the higher efficiency slot and the lower one with the extra stat boost in the lower efficiency slot. In terms of the AA guns, we are going to be running a sextuple Bofors again. She is an AA boat, so we're going to max out on the damage that we can deal off of this AA boat. This ship, what she needs to help survive is evasion. So we are going to be working on getting the evasion. The high performance hydraulic steer gear is pretty much the best that you can get for evasion. For the second slot, we're going to be running the cosmic kicks. Yes, this is an event exclusive item. Sorry if you don't have this, but technically it gives you evasion and speed, which is perfect for this ship. You love speed. You can see, you know, how effective that is in the latest Millen video, but that speed is going to be in a good shape. We like an extra 5 speed. It's not a big difference, but we are trying to get faster. We are going to be running Malstrale, who's already pretty fast. We're running the Beaver Squad to speed him up. We'll take the extra speed here, and that is going to be our build out for Seattle. So this is the fleet that we have with all the equipments. If you want to reconstruct it, make some changes. Now we're going to go test this out, see how it performs, see if we can get Admiral of the Navy with this fleet and get some footage for you guys. So let's head over there. So first up, we're paired against Nagato, Warspite, Shinano, Juno, Duka, Yuka, Kaze. Not particularly meta, but still quite threatening. So we end up getting right here, you're going to see an early Juno kill, which is going to help us with that overheal. And then we're going to take out Nagato before she even gets to strike. The opponent Warspite snipe didn't even hurt on the New Jersey there. And we literally here get a second Acula strike right around the same time as Shinano, which is going to negate a lot of that damage. We also basically just are going to win this battle at this point. Like, we've taken out most of their backline. It's just a matter of time. Duka is being a little bit annoying with her heal there, and she's literally the last ship. And we are going to get a clean 6-0 here with this Acula strike hits off, which is actually quite nice that we had. So a good way to start off this video. Next up, we have literally the exact same fleet again. Sometimes the top end of PvP ends up facing a lot of mirror matches and playing again and stuff like that. Here, let's see if it's any different than the first time, see if they do any better. The Warspite still does literally nothing to New Jersey here, and we take out the Juno pretty early. But it does actually heal the Nagato, so Nagato is actually going to live long enough to fire a barrage, but it's not really going to make too much of a difference. It is going to take out a lot of damage on that New Jersey, but we have pretty much taken out everybody, and it's back to Duca and Shinano at the end again. Duca, once again, being annoying with that heal. Like I said, the fact that we had Nagato survive the barrage means that our New Jersey is dead, so we didn't get a 6-0 this time, but our Vanguard is still not died in any battle yet. Next up, we have Nagato Amagi Kaga battleship and a bunch of IJN Vanguard. So an IJN fleet, but it's not particularly a carrier fleet, so this is one of the worst versions, but it's still potentially threatening if Amagi can get, you know, dodges here. But we do have Acula to kind of deal with that, and I'm not too worried. We take out that Vanguard pretty early, and now we just get to fire free shots, and it's another 6-0. We still haven't seen our Vanguard die. Malstrale too strong. Here we have a farm fleet. It just, you know, we run into these every once in a while. It is what it is. Next up, another farm fleet, literally, except this time we get to actually beat up on some VTubers, so that's a little bit better, but, you know, I'm just skipping through these quickly to move on. Here we have a German fleet here with Strasser FDG, Parsifal, Mains, Agir, and Z46, and this should be interesting. The back line is a little bit scary, but this front line, despite all its HP, is going to get absolutely destroyed by our AP ammo in the back. It just can't keep up with that. It's just too much. And look how fast we are able to delete that FDG. She's got 10k health pool, and we're just, you know, deleting her here. And Strasser literally freezes us within our own smoke screen, which is awesome. Here we actually have a real fleet here, a Mafia fleet. So let's see if this is any better. Of course, they're running the Duca variant, so that's, you know, particularly going to be interesting to see Malstrale versus Duca. We end up killing the Juno, and she does overheal with that Pearl Tears, so that's quite nice. The Acula right here is not going to get that second airstrike off because of New Jersey knocking her out. That is the difference between a firepower, a high performance fire control radar there that was literally able to get in under the Acula's second airstrike and take her out. So that's really impressive. And right now, our Vanguard not dead. We literally survive against another Mafia fleet without even losing Juno. What is this? Juno's just like being a good ship here. I'm just trying to reset to actually, like, you know, get some extra points here, but we get another farm fleet. And here, this is my last set of resets, and I'm just trying to find a fun battle for you guys. Literally, everybody's playing farm fleets. They just don't want this video to have cool, interesting fights. We're going to finish this up against a French fleet here with Richelieu, Jean Bart, Champagne. So a lot of early strikes here that are coming, but we proc Malstrale's smokescreen, and they're all fast, so they're all going to pretty much miss. Our Vanguard is nearly untouched, and we just get to go back and eat them alive. They're really focused on preload, and we're able to just tank that with Malstrale. Another smokescreen procs there. And wow, I mean, I don't even think our Malstrale died a single time. Like, and she has the Pearl Tears a single time. Malstrale, best ship. So yeah, we're here with our Admiral of the Navy with first in the server. Wow, would you look at this? Malstrale's skill just procced and totally negated Acula, just like I theorized. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I do PvP videos from time to time. I have another PvP video that is in the works as we speak. So if you want to be notified when that video comes out, certainly subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you guys next time.